So I acknowledge I'll start first by tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings, greetings, greetings from New Zealand. And I'd like to acknowledge our International President, Catherine Bossart, our Executive Secretary, Jenny, and our Asia Pacific Regional Coordinator, Dawn. Sorry, not Asia Pacific. My North America and the Caribbean Regional Coordinator, Dawn Williams. Thank you. I've been dealing with Asia Pacific this morning. So, and to acknowledge everyone that's in the room, I'd like to acknowledge Bessie Hieronymus, who was a former Executive Secretary and has worked in the Constitution in the past. So it's lovely to see everyone present. Right. So I am going to move a screen.
I bring excuses from Liz, who is our regional advisor, but she's on her way to Europe as we speak. So she can join us.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Well, they can all get a copy of this, Dawn. So from the recording, so everyone's aware. Thank you.
But I just wanted to know why she's not present.
I'm not sure. Okay. So it's because she's traveling at the moment. Is that what you're saying?
She's traveling at the moment. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Right. So I will begin. So the journey so far. And I will share my screen. So we'll start that as well. And that's the one you want. So you can see that screen. No, I haven't shared it yet. Oops. So you can see my screen okay? And I will move.
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Right. So the journey so far from 2011 to 2023. 2011, the registration to be obtained in Geneva with the resolution adopted at the 27th BPW International Congress in Helsinki. From 2021 to 2023, the existing constitution and regulations required review, what was found, what was required amendment, and new mandatory clauses included for registration compliance. So the General Assembly in Helsinki 2011 decided to register BPW International under the Swiss Civil Code in Geneva. Unfortunately, the international president of this time was not familiar with the federalist structure of Switzerland and registered BPW International with the Welcoming Centre of the Canton of Geneva for NGOs with consultative status with the UN, but not with the Registry of Commerce. Our international president discovered this during her term as VP UN. The Anti-Money Laundering, because I'm reading her text, so please bear with me. The Anti-Money Laundering Act in Switzerland now requires NGOs of our size to be registered by the 1st of July 2024. As a consequence, we will have to respond to the articles concerning associations in the Swiss Civil Code. This means that we will have to amend our international constitution. There are provisions to be added. For example, an additional page at the beginning of the Constitution, which states exactly when the Constitution has last been amended, with date and signature of the President and one member of the Executive. Moreover, we need to mention the signatories in the Constitution. The audited annual finance report not only has to be sent to the International Board, but also to be voted upon. This would normally be done during a General Assembly, but as we have only every 3 years a General Assembly, the International Board will have to vote virtually on the acceptance of the report once every year. There will be an annex with definitions. You'll hear more about the amended Constitution from Chair Carolyn Savage during the Zoom meeting. The Executive will submit a motion to the International Board to convene an extraordinary General Assembly during which the delegates vote on the amended Constitution virtually. In November and December 2023, during the information campaign in all 5 BPW regions, we present the draft Constitution. The fact that BPW International is not registered puts BPW International in a very vulnerable position. We need a registration number for the bank to receive funds for projects and for any legal case. Therefore, we need the collaboration of you all and your support. Thank you very much for your attention and your collaboration. International President, Dr. Catherine Bossart. Right, now, so that's some of the history and where we are. So, our BPW International Documents for Review. So, part 1, the Constitution Regulations. That's what we're looking at. And part 2 is the Procedure Manual, which will need to be updated to align with the Constitution as per our documents. So, quick introduction. I've got some chats. Just one moment. Have I changed the slides now? They're all okay? You can all see? Thumbs up?
So, CAC Chair Caroline.
Yes.
Just so everyone understands that what you just read out was also attached to the email that we received with the Zoom link, you know,
yes.
In case anyone's wondering why what you read out was not on the slides. So the attachment was sent to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. So now that probably was the confusion about the slides. So now I'm taking you through the slides. So an introduction and an overview of where we are to date, the BPW Constitution Regulations, our preliminary clauses, Constitution Regulations, and Part 1A, the Constitution update and revision and presentation and a QA session is provided, and Part 1B was the BPW Constitution Regulations presentation. So basically it's the regulations of the Constitution and annex. So Appendix 1, then definitions. So a definition should exclude non-essentials. A good definition should be as concise as possible. So as I've been saying to everyone, what I class as a definition, a fork. A fork is to be used to take food from a plate to one's mouth. How it's made, how it's been implemented is not, we don't need to know that in a definition. And we're distributing this with a copy of the PowerPoint presentation PD for review. There's 175 slides. This is an abridged version, but you will be getting a copy of the full presentation with all the frequently asked questions included. So the next stage is updated PowerPoint for presentations with any amendments from the executive meeting, issue draft constitution regulations with proposed amendments to the Swiss lawyers for review and cross-check on the 30th of the 10th, draft resolutions for every amendment proposed. So we've put together the proposed amendments, and they are going to, for every one of the proposed amendments for the Constitution regulations, and that will be going out with the call to the International Board, and it will be in all 5 languages. Preparation of webinars with President CAC Chair for distribution to all affiliate federations, affiliate clubs, and individual affiliate members. Presentation across the 5 regions with each of the regional coordinators and CAC representatives of the region present. Call for vote from the International Board on an extraordinary virtual General Assembly, and I'll explain that further. And Part 2, the Procedure Manual draft presentation. So just to give you some history, back in 2022, I did a presentation with BPW Intercontinental on the proposed work that would be undertaken on the Constitution and regulations over the following 12 to 16 months. In November 2022, the President's message to all on the issue of BPW's international registration and the work that was required on the Constitution and regulations was posted on the BPW International website, as well as included in her newsletter. So we received information from the Swiss lawyers for rewording or amendments with our existing Constitution and procedure manual details. We had a meeting with the lawyers, and I asked them, could we submit our existing Constitution regulations in their current form for registration and we got a blanket no. They did not comply. There's a number of things, they're mandatory clauses that needed to be included. So did a draft presentation to the International Executive at their executive meeting in October. And the first presentation was at the Asia Pacific Conference. Then there was presentations to BPW Europe, BPW Africa, and now BPW North America and the Caribbean. And then the call to go out for the International Board will be by, or definitely before, the 18th of December. So, and then there's the standard process that we have for Congress, which will be, our international president will talk on those. But basically, the invitation for the Congress will be going out by our international president executive secretary, which is required 8 months before Congress. 6 months before the General Assembly is when we request policy and external resolutions, etc. So that process, 6 months, 4 months, 2 months, and Congress, we're applying it in the same process for an extraordinary virtual General Assembly. So the 6th of November to the 9th of December, presentation to all regions and all members. So if anyone's missed a meeting, they can always come to one of those. The 18th of December, the 18th of December, call to the International Board for vote on an extraordinary virtual General Assembly for the review voting on the BPW International Constitution Regulations Amendments for the purpose of registration in Geneva as adopted at Congress 2011. This would be the only item, and the legal fees would be the only 2 items on that call for voting. Then December 2023, 6 months prior to the extraordinary virtual General Assembly, issue of resolutions showing existing and amended constitution regulations to international board and affiliate federations, affiliate clubs, and individual affiliate members. The 11th of January, there will be a BPW intercontinental presentation. So if anyone's missed any of the regional meetings, they're more than welcome to attend. It's exactly the same. February, the 4 months prior, amendments to resolutions received. April, 2 months prior to the final resolutions for the EVGA. So June, an extraordinary virtual online general meeting, it should be assembly actually, Constitution and Regulations Amendments. The amended Constitution regulations would be signed and ratified, and a copy of the minutes issued for registration by the 30th of June, 2024. So I acknowledge our Constitutional Advisory Committee. They've been amazing to work with, and we've done a review of the Constitution regulations and procedure manual over the past 12 to 16 months. We've read current documents, we've read the legal review for registration in Geneva, and we've read historic information. So there's been 3 items of work. 1, Constitution regulation review and development of amendments was started in late 2021. 2, retaining the registration of BPW International with Geneva as per the resolution adopted at the 27th BPW International Congress 2011, and Constitution regulations amendments for compliance with Swiss Civil Code. For example, information in existing Constitution regulations and procedure manual repositioned or reworded and general amendments of items not currently included in our documents. So I've spoken about the motion that was adopted, the vote to accept regulations applying to Geneva registration, and this adoption of the new constitution was passed, and the President thanked everyone for the extensive input in the drafting process. So there was a lot of work done, and I'd like to acknowledge everyone that's done that work up to 2011. The registration with Geneva, so Switzerland. So from the minutes proceedings of the 27th BPW International Congress, Helsinki, 21 June 2021, there were some points of clarification. So Canada was checking that all the items in red relating to BPW's registration in Geneva could not be amended by Congress as they were needed to retain BPW's registration, and the Executive Secretary had confirmed this. The vote to accept regulations applying to Geneva registration, the vote was to amend both the current constitution and what was called bylaws, it's now called regulations, by accepting all amendments printed and read in the workbook, as they were necessary for BPW's registration in Geneva. So all that information or the background was put in place. And the Swiss Civil Code, it is a requirement of registration in Geneva that this constitution and these regulations comply with the Swiss Civil Code the relevant articles in the 2010 version of Articles 60 to 979. As you can imagine, that was 12 years ago, so some things have been changed in the Swiss civil law as well that have been updated, so our final document includes those. So overview to date, BPW International Executive had received a letter of concern from young BPW members post-General Assembly March 2021, which required the CAC committee to review and identify any necessary changes. There were some things in that letter that would actually require a formal resolution to go forward. So we have not dealt with that in this process. This is ring-fenced only for the information that's required for the registration. BPW International Constitution regulations and its supporting documents, the procedure manual, were to be reviewed to identify any potential information for inclusion or amendments, and review of the CAC draft documents version 2 dated 29/11/2013, and I acknowledge Bessie for the work she'd done in that document. There's over 500 something pages. And the review of the Constitution Regulations 2011 and 2014 in respect to changes. So the registration process has been misunderstood from a global perspective, not a reflection on the work of the committee since 2011. It was a system. The CAC committee of 2021 to 24 have recognised the work of all of those before us. The office of the original registrar wasn't the correct office, so we are working to have it implemented into the correct registered office. This is to assist the future management of our international organisation. Basically, we're ensuring that we've given a really good foundation document that basically you stick it in the bottom drawer. It's signed, everyone knows it's there. You only need to pull it out when you really need to refer to it. So as I said, our international president, Dr. Catherine Bossart, had been working through her triennium to follow up with the registration of BPW International in Geneva, as per the resolution passed. As a result of this, the independent Swiss law firm, who specialises in registrations for non-profit organisations and associations in Geneva, had reviewed our current documents and proposed some restructuring. For items that are embedded as governance into our constitution and regulations to be retained, while items that are around the implementation of these rules that are put into the procedure manual, as they can be easily amended. For example, as noted under our procedure manual, if language, grammar, or spelling errors can be changed without resolutions and between General Assemblies, and updated without having to go through the amendment and resolution the Constitution would require. At the General Assembly, March 2021, and upon receipt of the letter of concern by young BPW members, following the GA, it was confirmed by the CAC chair that the current Constitution and regulations and the procedure manual would be reviewed with proposed amendments to address some of the discrepancies or areas requiring further detailed BPW International documents. This PowerPoint has been prepared in compliance with our Constitution regulations and procedure manual to illustrate what is current or existing, what is proposed to be amended, example, simple text or grammatical amendments, or proposed rewording by the external independent legal team, which have added some valid recommendations for consideration and voting by our international board and delegates at the BPW International General Assembly, November 2024. Note that's in there at this point in time. The preference for everyone would be that we had the extraordinary virtual General Assembly, so then we can vote on these on their own in that space. Right, so just to let you know, we'd be an association, and I'll be talking about the Articles of Association. Difference between association and organisation. So, we're an association. Our funding's by membership fees and donations, and the things in yellow with definite ticks. Legal status. The association is typically a non-profit. Focusing on advocacy and networking. Size. Associations are typically smaller in size to organisations. Disagree with that. Structure. The structure of the association is less formal and flexible. Disagree with that. We have a formal process. Membership, voluntary or by invitation. An example, societies, clubs and professional associations. So what is a federation? a group of membership organisations or professional associations that have joined together to form a larger, usually representative organisation or governing body. It is, in effect, an association of associations. So, the impact of the Anti-Money Laundering Act revisions on associations' compulsory registration with the Commercial Register. Prior to the entry into force on the 1st of January 2023 of the revision of the Anti-Money Laundering Act and its implementing provisions, drink some water. Swiss law required only associations which conducted commercial activities and associations subject to audit requirements to register with the Commercial Register. This situation has now evolved. In this perspective, associations that fulfill the following cumulative conditions remain exempt from the mandatory registration with the Commercial Register. So I'll be taking you through that in a minute. But also this slide has been slightly updated, so I acknowledge that. Because people were asking me to put the US money and the euro as equivalents in. So tax VAT requirements in Switzerland. What are the limits before tax is applied for a non-profit association? It has to exceed two of the following: total assets of Swiss francs of 10 million or US 11.33 million. Has sales revenue of 20 million Swiss francs. Equivalent US dollars of 22.66 million. 50 full-time equivalents as annual average. So that's saying haven't fixed that. It's full-time paid employees. Exempt, non-profit organisations that have Swiss francs of 169,000 or associations with less than 250 Swiss francs, which is 283,000 in US dollars. So that for non-profit and volunteer-run associations of revenue over 150,000 Swiss francs, so do require annual audited review accounts, which BPW International does not require. Note, the rates are based on the 23rd of the 11th, 2023. So does the Federation of BPW International require registration? Is there existing mandates within BPW internal policy to be registered with Geneva? Yes, adopted at the 27th International Congress, 2011. 1, during the last 2 years, the funds raised or distributed do not exceed 100,000 Swiss francs. Article 90, paragraph 2, letter of the ordinance of the Commercial Register. No. Finance projects with its own resources for an amount exceeding 150 Swiss francs should mandatory register. And the reason being is that when we help our sisters in countries that are suffering from war or earthquakes or anything, if they're spent over 100,000 Swiss francs, then we should be 100,000 Swiss francs, yes, then we should be registered. The funds are distributed by a financial intermediary within the meaning of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, or in particular banks with the meaning of Article 2. No. Is registration mandatory? Yes, it is required. At least one of the association's representatives is domiciled in Switzerland. Yes, we're BPW Switzerland. So new mandatory clauses added to the MIET Swiss Civil Code and the Constitution regulations. The Articles of Association to comply with Swiss Civil Code. Preliminary clauses to identify all supplementary documents that are to be read with the Constitution regulations, but not included in such. So that's our procedure manual. It could be any appendices that come into the procedure manual, which I'll talk about later. And if there's a new finance policy, which I haven't come across yet, but that will be a supplementary document to be read with the Constitution regulations. In order to comply with legal provisions, the affiliates clause is renamed as members. This is because an association is necessarily made up of members. The executive board, or 1/5 of the members of BPW International, the association, in accordance with Article 64, paragraph 3 CC, may at any time request that an extraordinary General Assembly be held specifying the purpose thereof. Power of representation, the President and one or more collective signatories from the Executive are required. Submission of the minutes of the business session of the General Assembly with a copy of the new Executive signatories are to be submitted to the Registration Office 3 months after the International Congress. This is the minutes, not the whole proceedings. Constitution and regulations are to be updated with all resolutions adopted in the General Assembly and signed, so a lot of work for the CAC Chair and the CAC Committee, by the outgoing executive signatories in the last business session of the General Assembly. So, our BPW International Constitutional Regulations, as adopted at the 30th General Assembly, 17th of March 2021. Compliance with our Constitution and regulations. Now, before I start, is there any quick questions, or are you happy for me to just proceed? Hopefully it's all clear and yep, I'll keep going. So under our compliance, in accordance with the existing Constitution regulations, C8 amendments. Thank you, Lynn. The Constitution can be amended only at a General Assembly. So, Part 1, the structure and statutes to align with Swiss Civil Code. So that's what our front cover looks like. Comments, edits, amendments, proposed new changes are identified with purple for new section or heading added, text amended, new text added, and text removed. And there's some minor amendments. So, for example, on our front cover, adjustment of text, updates on amendments included in footer, name, statutes and date of most current, approved, most prominent, and address removed from the front page, plus a new design to the cover. And that's optional, but I'd like to add something. So on the left-hand side of the screen is what our existing cover looks like, front page to our BPW International Constitution Regulations. So there would be all the information when our documents are amended and they go down into the footer. There is Constitution regulations, new text added, statutes for adoption, date to be added when approved, and for example, the 31st General Assembly, November 2024. This is draft. And the address details are relocated under name and headquarters. And while going through this, it could be name and headquarters, or it could be name and registration. So those are the two things that came through from the lawyer. So a new section has now been added. A new page will be added into the front section of the Constitution Regulations document. It is to be signed following all constitutional regulation resolutions that have been voted and passed during the General Assembly. The final document must include the above and is made ready for the outgoing executive to sign before close of the General Assembly. So it's not a small piece of work. This will then be issued to the head office in Geneva within 3 months following the General Assembly, with a copy of the minutes and a copy of the new signatories for the next triennium. So this is what we are required to do. These updated articles of association of the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, IFBPW, also known as BPW International, the articles consist of the following 3 sections: 1, preliminary clauses, 2, constitution, and 3, regulations. 2, process. These articles have been reviewed, debated, voted, and approved and updated with the final articles presented for approval at BPW, for example, BPW International General Assembly held November 2024. And understand that each time we have our General Assembly, these will get, if they get amended in any way, this clause here, this point here will be changed and redated to suit that meeting. All future resolutions for amendments and approved changes will be voted during the General Assemblies and will be signed off prior to the end of the last business session by the outgoing signatories of the executive. 3, registration. A copy of the minutes of the General Assembly with a copy of the new signatories details and a list of the Executive Board are to be included at the time of these being submitted to BPW Internationals, the Association's head office in Geneva, and submitted within 3 months. So it will say signed on behalf of BPW International Federation of Business and Professional Women, BPW International Executive, in this case 2021 to 2024. And on the right-hand side of you, you can see that's what the page would look like. So new sections and or headings numbers added. So 1, preliminary clauses, numbered P1 to P3. 2, constitution, numbered C1 to C14. Regulations, 3, numbered R1 to R14. Appendix 1, BPW International definitions. So the number 1, preliminary clauses. 1, these articles of association of the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, IFBPW or BPW International, the articles consist of the following 3 sections. 1, preliminary clauses. 2, constitution. 3, regulations. Annexes, Appendix 1, BPW International definitions. 2, capitalized words. In these articles of association, words and expressions which have the first letter of their constitution, the words capitalized shall have the meaning set out in Appendix 1 to the Articles of Association entitled Appendix 1 BPW International Definitions, which is annexed to these Articles of Association. The definitions in this appendix apply to both the singular and plural of the terms concerned. 3, procedure manual. The procedure manual is a supplementary document drawn up by BPW International, the association, containing a set of regulatory standards which supplement or clarify the application of the Articles of Association. Under Swiss law, these rules do not have to be included in the Articles of Association, which is great. The procedure manual may be consulted by any member who submits a written request to the Executive Secretary. Now, some of this information was actually in our regulations section of the document. Constitution and regulation amendments must be prepared with attached clear rationales as to their impact on the procedure manual. When approved, the changes updating the procedure manual should be carried out at the same time as the updating of the Constitution and regulations. There will be no need to make any further reference to the International Executive. The procedure manual may be amended by the Executive Board. Such amendments apply only after they are each singly accepted by a majority vote of the International Board. Right, Part 1, Constitution. Under our Constitution, we have title, type of organisation, aim, structure, affiliates, fiscal year, dissolution and amendments. Simple. Under our new amended Constitution, so we've gone from C1 right through to C14. So name and headquarters, which was originally titled BPW International, the association, it was formerly named as type of organisation. Aims and structures stay exactly the same. C5 principles, they were formerly R24. C6 languages, formerly R7. C BPW International regions, before it said regions of BPW International. C8 relationships, formerly R22. So you can see through this that there are changes to being proposed and where that information has been carried over from or pulled up from our regulations. And in some cases, the information has actually come across from our procedure manual. So the following sections have been moved or come from the regulation section or procedure manual. C5 affiliates, international. So this has got detailed amendments. So currently it says C5 affiliates, International Federation of Business and Professional Women, IFBPW, consists, otherwise called BPW International, consists of affiliate federations of business and professional women, affiliate clubs of business and professional women, individual affiliate members, business and professional women, and the international board may remove an affiliate. So that's what's currently in our constitution. So the lawyers have said, in order to comply with legal provisions, we invite you to rename the affiliates clause as members. This is because an association is necessarily made up of members. We've grouped together the definitions of the various members in the clause in order to clarify the distinctions between members from the outset. We've also inserted a paragraph on the obligation to keep a list of members. From the 1st of January 2023, associations entered in the commercial register must have an up-to-date list of members. This list must include the name and/or business name and address of the members. Now, for BPW International, this means the list of, for example, BPW, the Federation of BPW New Zealand, and who would be the president. That's what the list contains. It doesn't mean every member. We had a minor panic and thought every member of BPW, and how many members is that? 25, 30,000 would be held by BPW International. No, it means that the federations keep a list, or the clubs keep a list of all their members. We, at the international executive level, would keep the name of that federation or the club or the individual affiliate member. We also propose that you add directly after the definition of members the provisions relating to the joining and leaving of a member. So one section here, because I'm aware of time, the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, IFBPW or BPW International, consists of the affiliate federations, affiliate clubs, and individual members of the association. The information in blue was re-added following the discussion at our executive meeting in Switzerland earlier in October. So this has gone through the executive. They've had a chance to review and see this, and now those things have been carried over. Members may be legal entities and/or are all persons who have an interest in and/or wish to support the mission, social aim, and objectives of BPW International, the association. Members up to 35 years of age are officially recognised as young BPW members, and the association is composed of the following members. I haven't put all 3 slides in there, the breakdown, but I'll show you them afterwards if you want to have a look. So, important feedback by all on the proposed draft amendments to our international constitutions required. So you will be getting all the proposed amendments sent through on the 18th or the 16th of this month, and that's for every member across our organisation to look at, to debate, to review, and send back their input. So part 1B, regulations. So our existing regulations go from R1 to R24. So for example, R24 has now been moved up into the Constitution. Languages has been moved up into Constitution. Regions of BPW International has been moved up into the Constitution. So an overview, this shows you what has been relocated or even proposed relocated under our procedure manual, and resolutions are actually covered under more detail in the Congress section. So the regulations, organisation of BPW International, General Assemblies. So there's some quite some detail around what our General Assemblies are. Sorry? Does someone have a question?
No,
Ursula, can you just, if no one's got a question, might just mute people? Okay, and in here there's actually the timeframes for Congress, the General Assembly, the meeting mode, and proposal for items on the agenda, powers, voting at the General Assembly, and quorum and decisions. So, and our regulations continue with a new one, for conflicts of interest, the President, International Board, how the competency, composition. Now, nominations, again, I have not changed this PowerPoint presentation from day one, but the nominations is actually the appointment of the representatives for the delegates for the International Board. And it's clearer further on. So power representation, decision-making by your executive. And then accounting, president, dissolution, liability, trustees, amendments, and entry into force. So International Congress structure. The International Congress is to meet 5 functions: pre-General Assembly International Board meeting, General Assembly for the business of the Federation, post-General Assembly International Board meeting, the 5 regional meetings, members' education, empowerment through plenary sessions, keynote speakers, awards, dinners, and there's some other meetings, for example, pre-Congress, constitution and resolution meetings, and there should also be included our budget preview, which we've implemented in New Zealand when I was president. So, General Assembly, the International Congress. The General Assembly. Decisions. The General Assembly decides by means of resolutions that have been received. Resolutions on finance or dues must be issued 4 months prior to the General Assembly. A resolution is a proposal on the agenda for either internal and operational matters, external and advocacy matters. Motions can be received from the floor, from a mover, seconder, and requires a vote to pass or carry the motion. Constitution and regulation resolutions require 2/3 majority vote of the quorum present to be adopted. External resolutions require simple majority vote of the quorum present to be adopted. Reports are received, but before being adopted, any recommendations arising from a report must be seconded before it can be put to the vote, and a simple majority is required to pass the recommendation. Outside General Assemblies, a written proposal from the Executive or the International Board to which all members who are entitled to vote through a delegate at the General Assembly have subscribed in writing shall be equivalent to a resolution of the General Assembly. The written proposal of the Executive or the International Board is sent by email to the members entitled to vote through a delegate at the General Assembly. Members are given 20 working days to accept the written proposal in writing by return email. After this deadline, the written proposal is considered to have been rejected by the member who has not responded in time. New minutes. The general business sessions of the General Assembly are to be submitted 3 months following the closing of the Congress and issued to the registration office with a copy of the amended Constitution regulations adopted and signed by the outgoing appointed executive signatories in the final business session of the General Assembly, forms with the details of their newly appointed executive and signatories for the next triennium, and understanding that this information will be up on the register so that you can see who are our appointed signatories, who have been elected to sign on behalf of BPW International. And basically, they are the executive that we've voted in at Congress. Minutes, the proceedings. The Congress proceedings and minutes of the General Assembly and the International Congress shall be kept by the executive or on its behalf the executive secretary. This is existing in our existing Constitution and Regulation and Procedure Manual. Within 12 months of the International Congress and General Assembly, the immediate past president is to work with the Executive Secretary and Executive Finance Office from her term to ensure the proceedings and the finalised accounts of the International Congress are completed and forwarded to the International Board. So this is showing you a cover of the proceedings from Helsinki, and this is showing you a layout of the proceedings from Jeju. Unfortunately, I don't have any other proceedings to share with you. So, conflicts of interest, this is new and mandatory. All members are legally prohibited from being represented by their delegate or from exercising their right to vote in decisions relating to a BPW International, an association matter, or lawsuit where they, a close relative, their spouse, or their partners, or their parents or relatives in the direct line are involved, as per Article 68 of the Swiss Civil Code. Elected or appointed officials are not to participate in making or in any way attempting to use her official position to influence a decision in which she knows or has reason to know that she has a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest is when the BPW member derives any personal and/or financial gain directly or indirectly as a result of the member's elected or appointed duties in BPW. Right. Oh, good. International Board. So there's new and see Procedure Manual 8. Functions and responsibilities. Extracts have been carried over from the existing Procedure Manual and original regulations. Executive meetings. The executive shall meet as often as necessary, but at least once a year face-to-face. In the case of a year in which the International Congress takes place, the executive meeting must take place before the International Congress. If 3 members of the executive so request, a meeting shall be held within 14 days of the request. The quorum of the executive to hold a meeting shall be 6 members of the executive. Members of the executive may validly participate in a meeting of the executive and make decisions in person or by video or telephone conference or by any other means decided by the executive. Meetings in person may be held in the country where the president resides or abroad. Meetings of the executive shall be convened by the president of the executive at least 3 months in advance. In urgent circumstances, the president may call an extraordinary meeting with 14 days' notice with availability confirmed by the executive to ensure a quorum is present. Decisions by the International Board and the executive, so R3, existing. And then R8, C6 fiscal year. This was under our constitution. The fiscal year is from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. It's been relocated under the regulations, R8 accounting. The executive draws up the accounts for each financial year in accordance with the applicable legal provisions. An accounting year begins on the 1st of January and ends on the 31st of December. R11, liability. Under the existing regulations, there's a bullet point that said liabilities. It is now a new clause, R11 liability. BPW International, the association, is solely liable for its debts, which are guaranteed by its corporate assets. Members have no personal liability for BPW International, the association's debts. C3 amendments. So the Constitution can be amended only at a General Assembly. So look at this, we're at slide 167, but really we're at 60 something, the abridged version.
Chair Carolyn, do you
Yes?
want us to hold our questions? Because that had a comment to make 2 slides back.
Oh, okay, yes, I can go back.
Yes, thanks. Right, I thought, yeah, no, we had the next one.
Oh, the liability one?
Right.
Yep.
I totally agree with this, but I think this should have a forerunner that says that members should not personally make personal decisions on behalf of BPW, because if they cannot be personally liable, then they should not personally make decisions on behalf of BPW. So I think that a forerunner to this slide is necessary, unless I missed it.
No, I don't think there is anything else there. That's the only one I remember. But we can take a note, because the proposed draft amendments are going to be going out. So anything like that, we'll add some notes in, because then they could be.
Right, because it's important, because if they did it in a personal capacity, then they have to be personally liable, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, under law, that would be right.
Yes, okay, thanks.
Yep, no, thanks, Dawn. Okay, so amendments. The Constitution, regulations, statutes may only be discussed and amended. And I'll just make sure I've got my screen. That's better. Now I can see everyone better, I think. Hopefully. The Constitution, Regulation, Statutes may only be discussed and amended upon receipt of resolutions for submission to the General Assembly of BPW International. A vote of 2/3 of those voting, a quorum being present, is required for an amendment to be adopted. Resolutions are as per outlined under the procedure manual. Amendments to the Constitution may be proposed by members of the Executive, the International Board, past presidents of BPW International, affiliate federations who are up to date with their dues, affiliate clubs in the same country, all of whom are up to date with their dues, chair of standing committees. At any time, the Executive and/or International Board may propose to the members by email that the Constitution and Regulation Statutes be amended. The updated Constitution, Regulation, Statutes will be proposed through resolutions, amended, voted, and adopted at the General Assembly. So you can see there's got a little bit more contents behind our amendments.
Just one more observation here as well.
Yes. I'll go
back one, please. Yeah. The updated Constitution and regulations will be proposed through resolutions, amended, voted, and adopted at the General Assembly. Totally agree. But we should give a timeline by which the adoption should take place, because as we are well aware that this really happens, but the updated documents don't ever get adopted into actual living document.
Okay.
So should be adopted by 6 months after, by the latest date by which it must come into action.
No, Dawn, they actually have to be adopted, ratified. So when they've been voted and adopted, they have to be ratified and signed on the last business session of the General Assembly. So by the outgoing executive. So they are ratified.
Okay.
So they adopted. They come into effect. And then that document and the minutes and the new executive and who are the signatories, the list of the new executives and the list of the signatories goes to the registrar office. That has to be done within 3 months. So no, they are adopted, and that last business session, they are fully ratified. Bessie.
Okay. And go into action, because commissioning, I think, is the issue we have in BPW today.
Yeah, no, they go into effect on that last, because every one of them has been adopted through the process when we voted on them. Then the final document normally has gone out and maybe get up online, you're right, months later sometimes. But
right,
no,
so that's why I'm thinking that part of it should have some timeline as well.
It does. It has it further in, and it will also have it in the next page, the next slide that I show you. Yeah, not a problem. Bessie. Sorry, Bessie. You're on mute.
Yes. The first line, the Constitution and regulations may only be discussed and amended upon receipt of resolutions. Why couldn't we discuss it? Like, for example, region-wise, you have to specify this may only be discussed by the whole membership, because we can discuss it within our region if we wish.
Oh, no, this is the process which we would do in the General Assembly. That is I would expect all members to be discussing any constitution or resolutions that, constitution amendments or resolutions that come out of when they come out through the correct timeline. And I can show you, I've put all that timeline in, so I might show you a couple of those extra slides. So it's very clear, that process, how it has to, and it's in accordance with our current constitution regulations in the process. So yeah, no, it's stating that it's around what happens in the General Assembly.
Okay.
Okay. Karen.
Yeah, so just to clarify, along that line, when you're saying that they can be discussed, amended upon the receipt of resolutions, so the timing of the receipt of any proposed changes, is there something maybe in another
another procedure that says what the timeline has to be, that it's received so it can be presented at the General Assembly?
Yep,
You know,
yep. No, there's a full countdown. There's a whole process. And what I'll do after I've gone through these, I've got a couple more slides here, and I'll actually show you those slides. They're embedded into the main presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, so entry into force. And this, Dawn, will respond to your question as well. The new Constitution Regulation Statute shall be amended as proposed and circulated by the Executive to the International Board by email for voting at the Extraordinary General Meeting to be held within the 20 days following receipt of the proposal. These Articles of Association constitutional regulations were adopted at the General Assembly held on ... and came into force on the same date. These Articles of Association constitutional regulations for the Association BPW International will be put into force to meet the registration criteria of Article 60, the following item of the Swiss Civil Code, hereafter CCC, at the Registrar de Commerce of the Canton of Geneva. So that's saying that it will happen following that's them all signed off. So questions and answers. Now there's some questions you've asked, so I might show you some of the other slides. And then where to from here: presentations, webinars, a motion for approval for Extraordinary General Assembly to review, debate and vote on the amended and new mandatory constitution regulations will be going out. So now I will stop sharing for a moment, just so I can get the other screen up. And I can show you.
Kudos to the CAC team, because this is, I mean, totally amazing, and the workload is unbelievable, I'm sure. So congratulations to all of you to getting to this stage and still going, right?
Thank you. Yes, we've got a fantastic team.
May I?
Sorry, Dawn. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, and thanks for meeting with us as a team, as a group in the North American and Caribbean region. And the document, I think, you don't need much explanation. It's very clear, very concise. I think you gave the background, you gave the reason, and you gave why we should do this going forward. My only ask is that once a year, I have an opportunity to go through with the team, especially since a number of presidents and key persons aren't available. We'll go through with them first, and if it is necessary at all, then we will invite you back just to answer any questions they may have. I'll send them to you ahead of time. Hope there won't be any, but I will take on the responsibility of ensuring that everyone. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dawn.
Yeah, oh yeah. That everyone gets the opportunity to understand what's happening. So I know you said you would share this.
Yes.
And then we'll take it from there. We are committed to the change.
Thank you very much. And no, absolutely, I want everyone to be able to see this information. It is to be as transparent and open as possible, and so everyone understands that, you know, this is the journey. And by the time we finish, we have a fantastic set of documents, and we're just building on what was done before. And there was a lot of information and work that's been done before. So now it's being collaborated into a stronger document for the registration process. So now I'll go to, there was questions around the resolution process. So 8 months before, so I'm going to quickly take you through timelines for Congress and General Assembly. So there's a clear time frame. So you can see under our existing procedure manual, it was 8.1 call to Congress. Sorry, Bessie, you have a question? Sorry,
yeah, I have some questions and comments. May I present them now? Is this the time for questions and answers?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. One, it says that the procedure manual may be consulted by any member by written request. I thought the procedure manual is going to be published in the documents in the website. Every member should have a copy of the procedure manual. What do you mean by consulted?
It's the term by the lawyers that they can read it. You can review it. It's there. It's available for everyone. So yes,
Well,
no, everything should be up on the website for everyone to have access to. And one of the things too, Bessie, reviewing some of the historic documents, and that's the next part I was going to talk about. Under our procedure manual, there's a whole lot of stuff that's not been included, and which is understandable. We don't want 500, 600, 700 pages to go through. But our constitution, regulations, and procedure manual are almost like if anyone understands contracts, they're like the preliminary and general information. So the contractor would take every piece of document that's part of the contract and read it. So all the specifications, the P&Gs. But sorry, Bessie, I'll just finish for a second. But the subcontractor might want to read, or say we would want to read the constitution, regulations, and the procedure manual. But if we want to know how to set up an affiliate club, that should be an appendice. Or if we want to know how to organize a congress, that should be appendices. So that information will actually be appendices, which also will be available on the website. So any member, so if we have a federation that says, look, we really want to hold Congress, what do we do? At the moment, that information is not there. So we're going to make sure that information is included as appendices to the procedure manual. So
but don't you think that all information should be available to all members rather than written request?
No, I think the written request. So which page are we on?
I didn't write the page. I just said procedure manual may be consulted by any member prior by written request. And I thought that it should be available at all times to all members.
Yes, no,
it should definitely request it in writing.
No, it should definitely be available to all members. So if that's something that,
may I just respond to this? Past Executive Secretary Bessie, I totally understand your question and the word consulted, because when we sat with the lawyers, they used the word consulted, and a lot of times it was used interchangeably with the word maybe referenced. So when they were speaking of, something or some document to be consulted, they meant to be referenced or to be referred to. Just so, from the word consulted used by the Swiss lawyers was more like what we would use in North America as, a document to be referenced or to be referred to. With respect to,
questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And it's really important. Like what you've just brought up is also really important in terms of access. Our members need to know that all of our governance documents are accessible to them, that even without a written request, they can just go to our website in the library, the archives, they're able to download it, review it, look at it, and come back to us. Because, at the end of the day, all of this belongs to our members. They need to understand. They need to also be aligned. We may do things internationally, but we're hoping that all the federation, we're setting precedent, but we hope that everyone else will also align with BPW International.
Okay, I have another one. It says that one association representative is domiciled in Switzerland. Does that mean that we will have somebody from the executive from Switzerland all the time?
No. It just means that there is someone in there, but there's also another clause that can be, you don't have to, but there'd be a representative that would go. So.
Okay, and the last one is
we've got BPW Switzerland, so hopefully with all those clubs, we've always got someone there.
Okay, but they will not be representative of on the Constitution point of view. They are just members.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then the fees and the dues are going to be mentioned in the Constitution. You remember the fees and the dues change. Does it mean that every time we're going to be renewing during every General Assembly, we're going to be amending the Constitution?
No, what happens, this is the clause. So that's why I said there was a whole lot of slides. Whoops, I can't find my mouse. There we are. Just get rid. Under R8.2, under our existing regulations, the General Assembly sets the rates of dues payable each year. Dues are invoiced and payable in euros unless an affiliate requests the executive. So all it is now is the General Assembly determines the amount of the annual membership dues. Anything else gets moved into the procedure manual.
Okay. And lastly, for my information, I would like to see if I can get copy of the Article 60 ETSEC from the Swiss Code, because we talk about the Swiss Code, but we have never received copy of what is required. I would like to have a copy of that, if I may.
I don't see that being a problem, but also remembering that when this Constitution was updated, it was also referring to Article 60 and 70 from 2010. So it was, yes, those documents were referred to then as well.
Yes, but we never saw it. We just had the reference, and I would like to be informed and know what it specifically says.
Yes, that's actually a really important point. And just so you know, it is publicly accessible. When you Google Article 60 of the Swiss Civil Code, you can also find it on Google, but we can send it to you. We can send you the link.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, there was someone asking about the resolution process. I think that I'll go back to that slide. So Congress, it's quite clear, and we're using exactly the same process for this. If we have an extra, if the International Board do vote on an extraordinary virtual General Assembly, we're using exactly the same process, but a call to Congress. So there's clear timeframes, and these have been now added into the Constitution. They were originally under the procedure manual. So a clear timeframe for the call to Congress and invitation to members. Notifications, receipt of nominations, resolutions, and final documentation is outlined under the procedure manual. The following key items are to be met by the Executive Board, International Board, and affiliate clubs and affiliate federations and clubs. So 8 months prior, call to Congress and GA. So it's a General Assembly. 6 months prior, submit to the President's Office resolutions and nominations. 4 months prior, circulate proposed nominations and resolutions. 3 months prior, all reports for inclusion into workbook. And 2 months prior, agenda and other documents circulated. I've got a chat. Oh, thank you very much. Ishla? So the invitation to the International Congress and General Assembly. The call to the International Congress shall be prepared by the President and the Executive Secretary and distributed to the International Board 8 months before the International Congress. The Executive shall be responsible for sending invitations to members. The invitations sent to members contain the agenda of the General Assembly. And this is all new that the lawyers have added. I believe the agenda is the draft agenda. I mean, you don't have it finalized 8 months before Congress. You'd be doing really well. And then all documents relating to the business of the General Assembly, including the agenda, shall be made available to members on the BPW International website. So 6 months before the General Assembly, nominations, policy resolutions, and constitution regulations and procedure manual proposed resolution amendments must be submitted. 4 months before the General Assembly, nominations, proposed resolutions have been reviewed and acceptance confirmed. Supporting documents are circulated to the International Board. 3 months before the General Assembly, the Executive and immediate past President, UN representatives and standing committee chairs must submit their reports for inclusion into the General Assembly workbook. and 2 months before the General Assembly, the Executive Secretary must circulate the agenda for the pre-General Assembly meeting of the International Board and any other available material that is relevant for members' participation in the General Assembly.
So this is, sorry, Chair, but
Yes.
that's in the regulations, not the Constitution. Just so I'm
Yes.
knowing what it is, this timeline.
Yes, this is
That's
in the regulations.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, wonderful.
Yep, sorry, I should have put
No.
R3 there. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Don't worry. There's so much you think you've got it all covered, and so, but at least the final document actually has them all with R1, R2, and what number the amendments. So I'll be telling you that there are 69 proposed amendments to be reviewed, debated, and voted on for this Constitution Regulations amendments. So that's why it has been asked of the International Board of the members that an extraordinary virtual General Assembly is held for the purpose of this document. And also to meet the timeline to have us registered by the 1st of July 2024. So, for example, General Assembly R10, which was our existing regulations, it now has 3.3 meeting mode. The General Assembly for the International Congress is held for all of the members, participants face-to-face. Now, our executive, there's been discussions around hybrid and online and mixed. As we know, for any country that hosts our Congress, there's a cost associated to it. So you've got to meet that benchmark before you can do anything else. So the executive said we would like to have this final clause added. Process for any online attendance as observers is at the discretion of the executive, and that will be put into the procedure manual. So it will mean if you cannot be there face-to-face, you don't have any voting rights, but you can attend as an observer only if the executive approve it. And proposals for items on the agenda, that comes from 8.2 of the procedure manual. Proposals for items on the agenda to be submitted to the General Assembly must be sent by email to the International President's Office and copied to the Executive Secretary no later than 6 months before the first day of Congress. So that's just showing you the process and who, and even the powers. So it actually states who has the power, what the General Assembly has the power to do. The General Assembly delegates to the executive the powers to manage and represent BPW International, the association. The General Assembly retains the following inalienable rights or powers: adoption, amendment of the Constitution and regulations, articles of association, approval of the annual reports and accounts, decide to dissolve or merge BPW International, the association, and management of all matters that do not fall within the remit of other bodies. So the voting, now this is something to be aware, this is actually changed. It's been amended. So we had the actual process of the number of voting delegates. That's been, the lawyers have said that should be in our procedure manual. So voting at the General Assembly, principle, affiliate federations and affiliate clubs vote through delegates. Only delegates of affiliate members who are up to date with their dues and any penalties may vote. Individual members do not have voting rights. The lawyers have said we need to include this. A delegate's vote corresponds to one vote. Delegates may be represented by their alternate delegate. Abstentions, got it. And invalid votes do not count towards the majority. 2, affiliate federation delegates. The number of affiliate federation delegates is determined by the number of members each affiliate has. The levels are set out in the procedure manual. Each affiliate federation is entitled to the same number of alternate delegates. Alternate club delegates. Each country in which there are one or more affiliate clubs has a single delegate and an alternate delegate. The single delegate's vote is shared between the affiliate clubs in the country. And voting at the General Assembly, other participants at the General Assembly, each executive members each have one vote and are entitled to vote in that capacity only. Past presidents are entitled to vote solely in their capacity as past presidents. Chairs of standing committees, and I think we were going to add past international presidents just to ensure no confusion there. So must make sure that I've checked that. Chairs of standing committees each have one vote and are entitled to vote solely in their chairs of standing committees. And for further information, please refer to the procedure manual. And then the quorum. A quorum of the General Assembly is valid if a quorum of 1/3 of the votes of the members represented by delegates who are present face-to-face at the General Assembly. The quorum is based on the number of votes of all delegates present face-to-face and eligible to vote. To permit face-to-face voting, this will be implemented through the engagement of an independent external online provider for secure voting with an audit system. So this is the section that's been taken out because resolutions are covered off in there. And then one other part I think would be really good to just show you quickly was around the membership section, because it did change. So now, I showed you what the definition, 13.1, is now under our Constitution. It's gone from a very simple point through to each. An affiliate federation business professional woman federation is defined as an affiliate federation of business professional women and is an active member of BPW International. So the details there about how the federation works and when the existence of the federation is suspended. So if the total number of individual members of a federation falls below 100, recognition of the existence of the federation shall be suspended until such time as the number of individual members of the said federation again increases to 100. When the existence of the federation is suspended, the affiliate clubs constituting the federation automatically become members of BPW International. And then active affiliate business professional women's clubs. A club is defined as an affiliate club of business and professional women and is an active member of BPW International. It is composed of at least 20 business and professional women. No affiliate club may become a member in a country in which there is an existing affiliate federation, which is already a member, unless recognition of the existence of the affiliate federation is suspended due to fewer than 100 individual members. So effectively, if there's a federation in a country, then and a new club is forming, they join that federation. And where there are a minimum of 3 affiliate clubs with a total membership of at least 100 members. So if they've got 102, then they're to work together to become an affiliate federation of BPW International, or 101 actually. And then individual members, because it was noted what an individual member should be actually defined. An individual affiliate member is defined as any person domiciled in a country where there is no affiliate federation or affiliate club. This person must support and adhere to the objectives of BPW International. Individual affiliate members are passive members of BPW International. As such, they do not have voting rights at the General Assembly and not eligible for election. Bessie, you've got your hand raised.
On the previous slide, you say that no member can be a member of BPW if the federation is being suspended because they are less than 100 members, correct?
No, that's not what it says.
Could you please repeat that part?
If the total number of individual members of a federation falls below 100, recognition of the existence of the federation shall be suspended until such time as the number of individual members of the said federation again increases to 100. When the existence of the federation is suspended, the affiliate clubs constituting the federation automatically become members of BPW International.
Well, you will still have the clubs as affiliate clubs, not the members individually.
Yes, no, it says
yes, that's a really important point, Bessie. But you know, it's the actual recognition of the status of federation. So you're right. if it's no longer occupying federation status, it would still be recognized as affiliate clubs. Absolutely. That
As long
still
as they have
remains.
30 members.
Yes.
So they automatically become members of BPW International. So if you had a federation and it was made up of 5 clubs, but they didn't have a total of 100 members, federation status is suspended, but each one of those clubs then is an affiliate member of BPW International.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. No, not a problem. And then the constitution of an affiliate federation or affiliate club must be approved by BPW International and must be consistent with these constitution regulations, statutes, and ensure good governance. BPW International, the association, shall maintain a list of affiliate federations, affiliate clubs, and individual affiliate members as per Article 61 of the Swiss Civil Code. Information relating to each affiliate federation, affiliate club, and individual affiliate member and any supporting documents will be kept for 5 years after the affiliate federation, affiliate club, or individual affiliate member concerned has been deregistered, as per Article 61, Paragraph 3. So that gives you an overview. Then it talks about 13.2 members. So membership. Under our existing procedure manual 4.2 formal membership applications, it has now been included under our regulations, constitutional regulations, sorry, I have to think back now, constitution section, whoops, where a country has a minimum of 3 clubs affiliate to BPW International and at least 100 members in total within those clubs, the clubs must together apply to become a federation affiliate to BPW International. Written applications for membership shall be voted on by the executive, which may approve or reject applications at its discretion and decide the effective date of admission. A business and professional women's federation, a business and professional women's club, and or a business and professional woman shall not be recognised as a member until the formal decision of the executive. Formal welcoming and endorsement of the new financial affiliate federations, so new financial affiliate federations and affiliate clubs are held at the International Board meeting prior to the opening of the General Assembly. That means if they're a financial, they get formally welcomed, they can vote at the General Assembly. And then there's the clause termination of membership. Under the procedure manual, there's a section about removing an affiliate, and this has been incorporated into the following. Termination of a member. Any member's membership can be terminated by 1, confirmation of the resignation of a member from a club federation, which must be sent in writing to the International Executive for their records at least 6 months before the end of the calendar year. The reason being doing so because BPW International does the dues for the following and then needs to know how many members a club or federation has. So that's affiliate federation, send through to the International Board, affiliate club to the affiliate federation, affiliate club in countries with no federations to the International Executive, and individual members to the affiliate federations or affiliate clubs or International Executive. Death, if a member is an individual, membership is inalienable. 3, removal, i.e. the withdrawal of member by decision of the International Board subject to 3 months written notice to the individual member or to the member's president, or failing that to the member's secretary. Affiliate federation, so this is a process, it would be the affiliate federation to the International Board, affiliate club to the affiliate federation or affiliate club to International Board, individual members to their club or executive, past international presidents or executive members. Termination of membership, the removal of a member, e.g. affiliate federations, affiliate clubs, individual members, past international presidents and executive members, may occur in particular to refer Procedure Manual Section 4.4 on the process when the affiliate federation, affiliate club, individual member has not paid its dues for 1 year, when a complaint has been made to the executive regarding misconduct by a member in relation to the affairs BPW International, or where an allegation against a member gives rise to suspicion the member has acted in a manner likely to bring BPW International into disrepute. In all cases, the current year's membership fees remains payable by the outgoing member. And then our names and logos. So there were R20.1 to R20.7. It now has two sections. 14.1 legal entity, identification of BPW International, the name International Federation of Business and Professional Women, IFBPW, otherwise called BPW International, and the logos in the sole ownership of BPW International. Logos, identification with the International Federation of Business and Professional Women, affiliates must identify themselves as affiliates of the International Federation of Business and Professional Women on websites and letterheads at a minimum. Refer to the procedure manual on colours and formal use. So you can see there's going to be quite a bit of information that will be coming through for you to read. And I'm going to show you just quickly, this is an example of the draft resolution schedule. So I've actually, the document's at 95% complete now, so it's going through its final review, and then the formal document will be issued with the call to the International Board for a vote on the International Extraordinary Virtual General Assembly. But all the proposed amendments will be going out with that call, as well as all the other documents we've been working on, and the frequently asked questions, and some, I've already had members on the CAT committee who've asked, can they translate some of this? I said they're welcome to translate the whole. They need to do so. It's that. So any questions? Karen.
So just going back to the number of delegates. So if a federation is entitled to, say, three votes, and only 2 people are able to attend the GA, is there something in here that says they're still entitled to their full allotment of votes?
No,
they would only
you've got to be present, and if you only have 2 out of 3 attend, then the third person doesn't attend, then the third vote is void.
The third vote. Okay, that's in there. And so then you had said that it's going to a vote by the International Board. Is that for the date that's going to happen in June? I think it's going to be June, right? So the board is has still yet to vote on that date, and we'll be advised of that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And to actually approve an extraordinary virtual General Assembly, because this document, because of how much has changed, and if you think about it, this is 12 years since we've worked on such a significant change to our constitution regulations. So the amendments and to bring it into line is quite significant. So we all wouldn't want to spend a day, 4 days, going through each one of those amendments. Just to show you, so we have to have a proposed amendment for the cover, because that changes. We have to have a proposed amendment for the ratified. We don't have to have a proposed amendment for the contents, but it's put in to show what all the changes are in the resolutions, in the regulations of constitution sections. Then under preliminary clauses, while some of those are mandatory, there will be things like under the procedure manual, there are things that we've brought up from the regulations, and the words have changed. So under the document, it shows what's existing in black, blue, which is new, and blue, and red, which has been struck out. So all of that, every part of that has to be read by everyone, and our association. So you can see what sections, what was existing, and where that information's come through, and what the new clause number will be.
So once this package comes out, and before June, will there be an opportunity for some discussions to maybe get some of the issues out of the way before it gets to the floor? Just to make it go smoother in June? Did I kind of miss it?
Absolutely. We're going to do this in exactly the same way as we would do any Congress with resolutions. So all this package, and I'm just going to see if I can show you, because it is in draft, and but I'll show you what this is going to look like. Just so you're all aware that this is going to be what's going to be coming out. And I'm just going to find my...
Anything to make things smoother on the day when the vote happens is a good thing.
Oh, no, definitely. So this whole process is as informative as we would do. So this has been set up as we would do a normal workbook for Congress. So the proposed BPW International Constitution Regulations, proposed amendments, updates, and new mandatory sections in compliance with Swiss Civil Code. This is the draft resolutions that have been prepared from November, December. So you can see here in the structure, each one of those is the proposed amendment, the number, and anything that's in grey are things that haven't changed or for information only. So I'll take you through because you don't need to see that at the moment. So proposed amendment 1, cover page, financial impact, none. Here's our cover of our existing constitution. This is what the new cover would look like, the new information on the cover, right? So this would be, and it's got a rationale. In compliance with the Swiss Civil Code, the front cover page requires statutes and the actual date the Constitution regulations are formally adopted and signed and ratified. The contact details and address are to be removed from the front cover. The previous additions are put into the footer section of the front page, noting in the future these could be placed on the inside cover of the Constitution regulations, because over the years we might do. This shows you the mandatory item, proposed amendment number 2, mandatory item. Title of the proposed amendment, ratified. Financial impact. Once registered, there are no associated costs for submission of formal documents at each triennium. So that's important to understand. But these are the sections that would be under that's being put forward and the rationale behind it. So you can see there's quite a lot of information that will be coming out to the International Board, and this will be translated in all 5 languages as well. So those are all the changes. So that shows you what's existing, the existing wording and existing... Sorry, Bessie? Sorry? Did you have something to say, Bessie?
I just wanted to go back to one article, one sentence that I heard, that for the General Assembly, the observers have to be approved by the executive.
No. Bessie, that's not what I said. What it says in here is that at a General Assembly, it is a face-to-face meeting. If we get, like if the executive get to meet the number that they have to make it financial. So, for example, we're going to Argentina, for example. You need to have, and I'm just putting numbers out in the air, right? But say you had to have 500 members there to make it financial, to make it break even, to have a surplus at the end, or have, so there's no loss in holding the Congress. If then the executive go, right, we've met all these requirements, we can permit, and that all comes down to if they've got the links, like if they're going to be able to report it, record it, whatever, then they can say if they would permit observers to attend, but observers would not have the right to vote. Observers would not have the right to speak. They would just be virtual attendees. But it doesn't say who they would select. It's saying if they've met that number, it is at their discretion if they will make this hybrid, if you like, letting others view from a distance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I heard that the executive to approve the observers, and that is what
no.
because BPW meetings should be open to all members. That's why I was concerned.
But no, Bessie, when it's come to Congress, Congress has always been face-to-face. In 2021, which was because of, and I'll find the clause we've got around that as well, Congress. Right. So what it stated, so for example, in the event of a pandemic, war, climate disaster, or world crisis requiring the urgent cancellation of the face-to-face for the International Congress, this would be automatically upgraded to a full online meeting to ensure the safety and well-being of members. And this would be to permit change in event and schedules. This would be coordinated within 6 months. It may actually be less, but that's something to note. But observers for a Congress, now I've got to find it. Okay, bear with me. Right. So what it doesn't say they will select who. The General Assembly of the International Congress is held for all of the members participants face-to-face. Process for any online attendance as observers is at the discretion of the executive. And they'll be referred to in the procedure manual what that would look like. So that's saying that, as I said before, as long as if the Congress has met the number of registered delegates who are attending to ensure that it is there's a surplus to Congress, it's not a profit, it's a surplus, then at the discretion of the executive, they may say, yes, we can now open it up. Or after the late registrations and when the registration period's all closed, for example, or at that final point, and they can go, well, actually, we've got all the members that we needed to meet our financial commitments. We can open it up for those that cannot attend for whatever reason as observers. But it does not say who as observers they will let. It says process for any online attendance as observers is at the discretion of the executive. So the executive might say,
it is,
no.
Excuse me. It is not at the discretion of the executive. It is the right of every member to observe the meetings of BPW International. It is not up to the executive. It is our given right.
Bessie, when it comes to Congress, it has always been face-to-face, and everyone's welcome, and it is open to everyone to attend, from your delegates to observers. This is only specific to if the executive decide to do something in hybrid to allow people to come in as observers in that instance. That has never happened in the past. And think of all the Congresses that I've attended, there has never been a hybrid where everyone comes in and then they've been filming it off for others to observe from a distance. That has never happened in the past. And the only extreme one was because it was a General Assembly held online around the world. That is different again. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. That is just one thing though, because what if, God forbid, we have another pandemic and there is no opportunity to face-to-face?
So if there's sorry, your phone, your speaker's breaking up there.
Is it any better now?
Oh, that's a bit better, yes. And I'll go.
Yeah, that's why I'm not on thing, because I'm trying to, No, I'm saying if for any reason there is another pandemic. Oh, okay, I missed that. Okay.
No, sorry. We've tried to make sure we've covered every eventuality. And one of them is even climate disaster as well. That was
great. Yeah. Okay.
So I hope that gives a really good broad view of where we've come from. Any other questions?
Comment, capture, Caroline.
Yes.
I have to, while others are thinking of comments or questions, I just wanted to acknowledge your leadership on this. You know, as most of you know, President Catherine and myself sit on the CAC committee as ex officio members. And I must say there has been extensive amount of work, not just for the CAC committee, but also, you know, having the input of the lawyers, et cetera, you know, outside of BPW, bringing in their expertise from Swiss perspective. You know, your leadership has been instrumental in making sure that all the moving parts are coming together. And this is supposed to be a transparent, open process so that, you know, it's fine to go to all the regions, but also for all of you on this call to better understand the intentions, because at the end of the day, at the core of this exercise is what is in the best interest of BPW International. At the core of this exercise should be, how do we legally protect our organization and work for the best interest of our organization? And, you know, this work has started since 2011. So thinking about the amount of time that it has taken, and all of us as business and professional women understand the importance of registration and the importance of protecting the organization from every perspective, you know, to ensure that it not only leads by example, but, you know, we do want to be registered at the end of the day to protect our organization, to do what is in the best interest of our organization and set precedents. So every other country is also going through the same exercise over the next 10, 20 years. So it's about also the future of our organization, and whatever we do at the international level also means that the countries you know, need to work towards that alignment, and that can take another decade or two. So this is a really important step, and I really want to acknowledge the leadership of Caroline Savage as CAC chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Bessie. And Dawn, when you had your screen on a moment ago, I think you had one of your grandchildren there.
May I add to Diana, to Executive Secretary Jenny's comments that I am incredibly grateful to the enormous support that CAC Chair was giving us, you know, in preparing this document, and now also in preparing the resolutions for the Extraordinary General Assembly. And taking the time to talk to everybody. I'm very sorry that I was there all the time, but I could not talk. I'm still now in the train, the last stretch to home. And I wish you all a very good time, and thank you very much for your attendance. It was an enormous, strenuous journey, specifically for Caroline, and as Jenny said, thank her so much for her leadership and her support throughout this triennium, but specifically in this matter of the registration. Thank you. Have all a good day and a good evening. Bye.
Thank you, President Catherine, and thank you, Executive Secretary Jenny. It's been great working with you both and having you on the Constitutional Committee. And Samantha had to leave a bit earlier. She did tell me she was going to. So it's 7:50. I said I'd keep within time, Dawn.
Yes, I'm just about to ask for leave because they just called me. So I'm going to leave now. But I think the meat of the matter has been dealt with. And if they have any other questions, they'll just ask you. You know, my position on this already. So, all right. Thanks for your time. And I must leave now.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Dawn.
Bye, Regional Coordinator Dawn. Thank you.
Bye, Regional Coordinator.
Bye. Thank you.
And is there any other questions? Because as I've said, that we will have a number of meetings, and when the proposed amendments and the call to the International Board, we will have met the requirements for 6 months ahead of a Congress by having those, sorry, Catherine, thank you. So what it means is we've actually met our compliance under the existing Constitution and Procedure Manual to submit the draft resolutions or draft amendments to all our members, and they're to be distributed to all our members. If the International Board say yes, they vote in favour of the Extraordinary General Assembly, not to have all of this discussed in our face-to-face General Assembly, then it means we will meet those requirements. Any changes that come back would then be reviewed and put into the document to then be issued to all the members. Any recommendations would go out. There will be, I still see there's going to be a number of meetings that we hold around the world. So this isn't the only one. And I think that's important to understand. And if you have a look at this timeline, see where that scroll is. That's the date, that's the month that we need to have the Extraordinary Virtual General Assembly. So I'm updating, going to do a special timeline. But effectively, our international president and executive secretary need to have the invitation for Congress out here. But meanwhile, we're working on the Extraordinary Virtual Online General Meeting, Congress, General Business Meeting, yes, to ensure we can meet this deadline. And I should have changed that to a scroll so they both read the same. But that basically is the date, the timeline that we're meeting there. So saying that, for clarity for everyone, there will be normal constitution and regulation resolutions that will probably come through, because I remember there was some, just to let everyone know, there were some that were left on the table because we didn't have sufficient time to have them all reviewed and debated and voted on in the General Assembly, online General Assembly in March 2021. So those will come back. The movers have been asked, will be asked, if they want those resolutions, their proposed amendments to be tabled for the next Congress. They will be dealt with at the Congress, face-to-face Congress. They're not part of this package of work. This package of work has been ring-fenced to deal with the changes we need to do to get us registered. Anything else will then be a change. And again, that means the constitutional chair will need to make sure that the final document is ready for our outgoing international executive to sign. And then that document with the new signatories and the minutes will all be issued to the registration office within that three-month period. I hope that's helped understand. So in a way, there's going to be two things running, almost overlapping each other, but that's just the way things have happened. Any questions? Any comments?
No questions, Carolyn, but I just wanted to say thank you for a very thorough presentation. Very easy to follow, and I'm sure I speak for most of us to say that we are grateful for this update, and look forward to the rest of the process where we get to the end of the timeline in, say, I guess it's May, and then later on in December. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Bessie. And you know what it's like, Bessie. You've done some of this in the past. So it is now 7:55 a.m. and it's probably 7:55 or later for you. Oh, Karen.
Oh no, I was just clapping. That was just my clapping word. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Well, again, thank you everyone for your time and for your input and for your questions. Because these have been drafted, I say thank you. They'll go out in the current format, and any changes, like Bessie, you've made some recommendations. I'll get you to email them back in the formal process, so then we can include them and send them out again. It sounds funny, but because it's already been done once and they're already presented to a number, we're going to keep that format, but any changes then we'll get out. And what I'd like to do, if there's changes that happen quickly, then I want to present them to the committee and say, look, we can get these out a bit earlier, because I want to make sure everyone's as informed as possible. I want to make this as transparent and as collaborative as possible. So I want to thank you all for your time and your attendance. Kathy, I hope that snowstorm you've got is not making life very difficult for you. And I'd like to wish you all a lovely day. And any questions, as I say, there's going to be more meetings, and there's also going to be one in the BPW Intercontinental meeting on the 11th of January. So if you want to attend, you're more than welcome. And anyone that hasn't been here today, please let them know. But if we need to do, if clubs want to have a presentation, they're more than happy to do so. If your federation would like to have a presentation, would like to do so, I'm more than happy to be there to make this as easy as possible for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a lovely weekend
you.
also
Bye
from
now.
my side. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.